So in other words, according to Wikipedia, if you believe a demonstrably true statistical fact, you're a Nazi. Also,
You're a Nazi? I didn't know I was a Nazi. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be reacting to How Wikipedia Lies to You by PaxTube. Now, I do upload a day faster on Rumble, so if you guys want to see more of me and you guys want to see me more often, you guys can check out Rumble. And, you know, if you guys just want to stay on YouTube, that's on you guys. But, alright, with that out of the way, let's start.
most visited websites in the world. When you search online about a topic that interests you, sure enough, Wikipedia is usually towards the top of the search results. With such exposure, this surely must be a credible and unbiased website, right? Unfortunately, nothing on Earth could be further from the truth. In this video on PaxTube, I'll be explaining precisely how Wikipedia lies to you.
Actually, I have a very interesting story. So, in one of my classes, I won't say who, and I won't even say which class because that's too specific and people can figure it out. But basically, in one of my classes, my teacher actually said Wikipedia now is trustworthy because there's these locks where you need like permission to change the information, and you need to be like it has to be from a credible source, and then there's like thousands of fact checkers, and I'm like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Because, you know, we've never really... Because Wikipedia, to me, always seemed kind of suspicious. And, actually, I remember in one of the videos, I remember Sneeko was talking about how the government bought out Wikipedia. So I was thinking about that. I was like, oh my god. You know, and, you know, generally, I don't even like to trust online sources at all. Because it's online. The government can change it anytime, honestly. And they can take down a lot of shit. And I just don't like that. If I would rather, if I really want to know about a subject, right? I would go on books. And I would read like maybe 300 of them. And if there's like a common theme in all of them, then okay, I'll trust that, right? 300 books from different time periods, from different authors, right? From, you know, all this shit. So, you know, I can get a lot of point of views. I can get... And even if some of them are manipulated, I'm sure that it's very hard to manipulate 300 books from 300 from a lot of... Hopefully from different time periods and from different authors. So, yeah. I think I can trust books more. But, you know, with that out of the way, let's keep on going.
Wikipedia's neutral point of view is dead. The original policy long since forgotten, Wikipedia no longer has an effective neutrality policy. These are the words of Larry Sanger, the co-founder of Wikipedia. In an article on his website titled "Wikipedia is Badly Biased," he lays out several fundamental problems with Wikipedia today, the most important being its left-wing bias. He starts by pointing out flaws in Wikipedia's current neutral point of view policy, which has nothing to do with actual neutrality. Due to embracing the doctrine of avoiding false balance, the Wikipedia administration declares itself as the final arbiter of which facts are correct and which are false. This policy is nothing more than Wikipedia declaring it has the authority to pick the winners and losers of academic debates. Sanger writes, even as journalists turn to opinion and activism, Wikipedia now touts controversial points of view on politics, religion, and science. But this flawed neutrality policy is simply the beginning of Wikipedia's problems. Sanger goes on to make several observations about modern Wikipedia. The first is a clear discrepancy in the pages of different American politicians. Barack Obama's page, he writes, is essentially a whitewash, cleared of all scandals and full of glowing compliments, and he's 100% correct. As just one example, the Benghazi attack was one of the most highly controversial moments of the Obama presidency, and it has next to no mention on the entire Obama Wikipedia page. Sanger goes on to point out how Donald Trump's page, by comparison, is unrelentingly negative and clearly written by people who dislike him and his policies. A far cry from Obama's page, every minute controversy that Trump is involved in has its own section on his Wikipedia page. Now, just to be clear, this isn't about being pro-Trump or anti-Obama. This is simply pointing out the obvious discrepancy in how Wikipedia covers the two. As we go forward, you'll see that this biased treatment is not limited to simply politicians. Sanger points out how Wikipedia also reliably covers political issues from a liberal left point of view. As an example, he uses the Wikipedia page about drug legalization. The page contains many arguments in favor of legalizing drugs, while providing little to no information about potential hazards of such policies. Another example he uses is the Wikipedia page about LGBT adoption. The page functions essentially as a political brief in favor of LGBT adoption, with all research that goes against it excluded. You'll soon notice this is a common trend on political Wikipedia pages. To corroborate his observations, I looked at several political pages on Wikipedia myself. This is the page on illegal immigration into the United States. On a neutral website, one would expect to simply see a description of the phenomenon. But what do we have here? We can count over 5 pro-illegal immigration arguments in the opening paragraph of the article alone. Each of these sentences is put here to give the reader a positive impression of illegal immigration. Meanwhile, no statements that could cast illegal immigration in a negative light are included. Far from neutrality, this is essentially pro-illegal immigration propaganda. The average undecided reader would read these sentences and most likely have their view of illegal immigration improved, and that's precisely why these sentences are put here. The same is true for the Wikipedia page on abortion. This page could be written by Planned Parenthood or any other pro-choice advocacy organization, and it would look identical. It even uses the so often employed abortionist talking point that the procedure is one of the safest in medicine. This point, as I mentioned in my video debunking abortionist talking points, completely ignores the fact that an unborn baby is being killed. It's also questionable on its face for other reasons, including how invasive it is. In any case, people with pro-life sentiment were clearly not involved at all in editing this article. What about an issue like race? Let's take a look at the Wikipedia page about race and crime. Yes, it's the same story. The liberal worldview of the issue presented as fact, with no alternative possibilities or counterpoints presented. Wikipedia simply asserts that there's extensive racial and ethnic discrimination by police and the judicial system. All of the research that's cited to make this point has substantial research that counters it, but the people editing this page don't seem to care. Much like how the abortion page could be written by Planned Parenthood and look identical, this page could be written by Black Lives Matter and look identical. Do you
Interesting. Yeah, that's. But what about the ones that aren't political? I'm gonna have to research this a bit more, but that's wow. Yeah, I can see that because if you're literally just neutral, what you should always do is just give a description, definition, no opinions, right? Just give it a description, shows research from both sides if you do want to show research. But if you don't, then just keep it as a description and describing the event that happened in a faithful manner. And that's it. Damn, man.
See the trend here yet? But if you thought this kind of narrative pushing would end at politics, you'd be wrong. Sanger also concludes in his article that Wikipedia displays an anti-religious bias, especially against Christianity. He mentions how the Jesus article includes language that deliberately casts doubt upon the historicity of the Gospels, and he concludes, in other respects, the article can be fairly described as a liberal academic discussion of Jesus, focusing especially on assorted difficulties and controversies, while failing to explain traditional or orthodox views of those issues. But let's go beyond simply my and Sanger's observations. If Wikipedia is pushing a biased point of view, we would expect research on the subject to also show this. And it just so happens there is a lot of research that shows exactly that. A 2016 Harvard study objectively concluded that Wikipedia has a left-wing bias, and that the bias is worse than other comparable encyclopedias such as Encyclopedia Britannia. The study, titled, "Do Experts or Collective Intelligence Write with More Bias?" concludes, we find that Wikipedia articles are more slanted towards democratic points of view than our Britannia articles, as well as more biased. Another Harvard study, titled, "Ideology and Composition Among an Online Crowd. Evidence from Wikipedians," found that left-wing editors on Wikipedia are far more active and more biased. In other words, leftist editors are on the website much more and are much less likely to be neutral when editing topics. I think this likely stems from the fact that left-wing people are more likely to be mentally ill and unemployed, and thus can devote an obsessive, uncompromising dedication to pushing their ideology in the—
Wait, is that actually true? That's actually kind of funny though. I mean, we think about it logically, right? I had this one girl in my class who was, I think you can call her the most liberal fucking girl you've ever seen in your life, right? And she was telling me, yeah, I want to be a stripper when I grow up. Okay, yeah, no fuck, they're mentally ill, and it all makes sense now. Jesus, man. What the hell is this?
these online spaces. There's also the high possibility that many of these editors are paid shills from left-wing NGOs like the ADL and SPLC, as research has also shown that most edits on Wikipedia are done by the same people. Indeed, many of the articles that have been shown in this very video have been edited by the same activist editors. Meanwhile, other research has found perhaps even a bigger issue. A 2018 analysis of Wikipedia's citations found that the New York Times, Los Angeles Times, Washington Post, CNN, and Time Magazine are among the most cited sources on Wikipedia. You might notice that these are all international corporate media outlets that tend to side against nationalistic and traditionalist points of view. Other high-ranking sources with even worse bias, what I would call left-wing rags, the Huffington Post, Slate, Vice, MTV News, also are frequently cited on Wikipedia. By comparison, right-leaning sources are either flat-out banned, like Breitbart, or have limits on what they're allowed to be cited for. It should go without saying that on Wikipedia's list of banned sources, the vast majority are right-wing or right-leaning. The common theme here is that Wikipedia is not about providing accurate and balanced information, but about controlling the narrative. To move on, the problems at Wikipedia also involve its administration and moderation. A 2020 analysis by two American academics analyzed bias in Wikipedia's policy enforcement on political articles. The academics looked at arbitration enforcement cases where administrators with special privileges on the site restrict or ban users from editing. The analysis looked specifically at how sanctions were handed out in areas such as US presidential politics, abortion, gun control, and race and intelligence. The analysis showed conclusively, in every area, those editors whose contributions favored the right-leaning perspective were more likely to be sanctioned. In total, editors favoring a right-leaning perspective were 6 times more likely to be sanctioned than those favoring the left-leaning perspective. The academics concluded that administrative bias could explain right-leaning sources being disfavored on Wikipedia. As an aside, we also see this administrative bias in who is able to edit controversial Wikipedia articles. The Wikipedia article on Antifa, for example, has been locked since the George Floyd riots in the summer of 2020. Since then, Antifa and Antifa-linked individuals have been involved in numerous murders, attacks, and acts of property destruction. None of this has been added to the Wikipedia article, despite even mainstream media outlets reporting on it. It's thus clear that the administrators of Wikipedia are deliberately protecting Antifa's reputation by barring all of this bad press from being added to their Wikipedia page. Whether you're a centrist or lean left or right, it's unconscionable that Wikipedia's administration hides crimes based on where they fall in the political and culture war. The information manipulation they're engaging in is dangerous and frankly should be criminal for a website that claims to have a neutrality policy. I'd also be remiss if I didn't talk about one more page on Wikipedia. This page is the No Nazis page that describes beliefs that supposedly make someone a Nazi and therefore worthy to be instantly banned from editing Wikipedia. Let's read some of the beliefs that this page says makes you a Nazi. These include believing that white people deserve to live in a white-only nation, white people are more oppressed than other groups, that the various cultures of white people are better than the cultures of non-white people, and that a large majority of crimes are committed by non-whites. Someone should probably inform the writer of this page that there are areas of the United States where this is indeed the case, an example being New York City. So in other words, according to Wikipedia, if you believe a demonstrably true statistical fact, you're a Nazi. Also,
you're a Nazi? I didn't know I was a Nazi.
So if you're white and prefer your own people and culture, you're also a Nazi. Of course, white people are the only race held to this standard by Wikipedia. The dishonesty, double standards, and stupidity of this policy go without saying, and yet it's used to this day to ban people from editing Wikipedia. So, I think the issues with Wikipedia are pretty clear. The question then becomes, where do we go from here? The first thing that we need to understand is that Wikipedia's bias does not simply exist in a vacuum. Rather, it's part of the broader trend in Western society of the media and social media colluding to push anti-traditional, anti-Christian, and anti-white narratives. Getting people to understand that this phenomenon is going on is one of the main reasons I make these videos. As far as dealing with Wikipedia itself, the most important thing is not to use it for your own research. Instead, try to look at more primary sources about topics and get the facts straight from the source instead of relying on a Wikipedia editor to explain it. It also goes without saying that you shouldn't donate to Wikipedia, and you should discourage others from doing so as well. Wikipedia stays online through donations, and the right-wingers donating to it are donating to their own destruction. If you're a brave person, you can also attempt to edit Wikipedia yourself, but the aforementioned administrative bias is sure to cause any honest person problems. So ladies and gentlemen, next time you go online to find information about a controversial subject, I hope you remember this video before clicking on Wikipedia.
Wow, yeah, this video was very interesting. I think more YouTubers should be like this. Very, very good video. Showed a lot of very good evidence. Made a lot of sense. But, you know, I don't like to hear one side of the story. So, I don't mind hearing maybe another YouTuber talking about how you can trust Wikipedia now. You know, I don't mind hearing evidences for both sides. Now, of course, I am a little bit more biased towards right-winged opinions and right-winged, just stuff, Republican stuff. But that will not let me be ignorant of what's happening to the left side, because, you know, I think the major problem with leftists is they will not have a conversation. I believe in conversations, and I believe that if you're right and I cannot give any arguments to refute it, and my brain tells me, okay, you're right as well, then hey, you're right. Doesn't matter if you're right or left. You know, same thing if a left person, you know, argued with me and they made perfect sense and everything made sense, okay, cool, I'll believe you. And same goes for a right-wing person. If a right-wing person gave a very good argument, gave a very compelling argument, cool, I'll believe you. But, you know, same thing with lies. If a right-winged individual told me a lie and I believe it to be a lie, okay, it's a lie. And yeah, if a left-winged individual were to tell me a lie and I didn't believe it, then it's a lie. Yeah, so this is very informative. Thank you, PaxTube. This guy's amazing, man. Oh my, he has 16k subs and 31k views. Doubled his subscribers. Guys, you know, this video is probably not going to be as popular as PaxTube's, you know, video, but if I ever do get, you know, more subscribers than PaxTube, bro, I gotta promote this guy. This guy is amazing. Hopefully he doesn't change anything up too drastically, because, you know, I'm looking at all this and it's amazing videos, honestly. This is why I call a very, very good YouTube channel, and he only started like 2 years ago, right? Amazing guy. So please do check this guy out. He's very interesting. Actually, just made a new video, but maybe that's a new reaction for another day. All right. But guys, thank you for watching my video. And if you guys enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Remember to go check out my Rumble. It's going to be on the description. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.